Howdy friends, I hope you're having a snazzy time zone. I'm sure if you have even a single little toe submerged in the Animal Crossing community, you've probably noticed a sudden boom in modding. Modded switches everywhere. I love it, I'll probably dabble in it myself at some point. But some people who don't mod are letting it get to them. My dudes, friends, gals, pals, I'm here to tell you, it's fine. You can still have the snazziest island imaginable without a single mod. You can knock everyone's socks off with your regular Farm Fresh organic switch. Now, I can't do it for you, but I do have some design tips and inspiration to help you along your sock removing journey. So we're doing a series of videos in which I'm going to share with you some things that I try to focus on when designing an ACNH. Brief disclaimer, there is no single right way to decorate in this game. These are just some things that I personally focus on to try to make my builds even snazzier. That being said, do I have any credentials at all? Here, my completed island has almost 4,000 visits on it. Is that good? Anyway, let's get to our first design tip and inspiration, which is pick your color scheme. Another disclaimer, I'm really going to focus on colors for your island and exteriors today rather than interiors. So for now, let's ask, how important is a color palette? For me, I think having at least a vague color idea to start with really helps give your island that cohesive feeling once you get to decorating. I mean, if you pick a theme but don't consider colors at all, it may turn out fabulous, or it may feel like a hot mess before you're a third of the way through. After all, fairycore, it can be pastel, vibrant, or menacing and dark. Citycore can be anything from totally gray and neutral to super saturated. Any option can be just as stunning, but of course, a lot of different factors bring the final result together. We'll talk more about it, but first, how do you pick a color scheme if you don't know where to start? One option is just a good old color palette website. You can use a randomizer, or you can look through tons of pre-made color scheme ideas. See what calls to you and try to think, how can you apply it with items in ACNH? You can even use a site like Nookopedia and search for furniture in the game by color, which is a pretty nice way to get color inspiration directly from items, or to just see what items you can use in the colors you have in mind. Another way to figure out your colors, think about what you're trying to build. A farm field, a playground, a city street, a pumpkin patch, a fairy circle. Try searching real-life images of those things and see what you find. Just maybe a color in a real-life picture will stand out to you. And let's be honest, Pinterest is a great place to do this. Just remember, if you add the word aesthetic after the words you're searching, it will change up the results just a little bit if you need that. Another thing you can do is keep watching, because in a minute, I'm going to show you a bunch of amazing islands that all have a uniquely beautiful color palette. But real quickly first, there are 3 pretty big things to keep in mind when considering your island's color scheme in ACNH. Those things are the season, the time of day, and the weather. I think most of us know by now how drastically your island's vibe can change as the seasons progress in the game. Of course, if you're a time skipper, figuring out the season you want for your island is a lot easier and faster. Or if you have the DLC, you can experiment on there some as well, though the options are a lot more limited. What colors do you want from the trees, the grass, the shrubs, and so on? Just stuff to think about. From there, the time of day and weather basically act as color filters, and there are a lot of nice options to pick from. You'll probably just have to experiment once you start placing items down to kind of see what weather and time of day seems best for what you have in mind. But the light from the sun or the night sky can make a huge impact on your overall color scheme. So let's just go start looking at some examples. I want to thank all of the snazzy creators who let me share their islands in this video. Everyone's socials and the dream addresses are in the description, so please go check those out. Show these people some love because, as you can see, they deserve it. This is one of my favorite islands of all time. It's so beautiful and so well put together. Somehow, this is how you do a city that is a cool tone overall. We have lots of cool colors, and yet it feels at the same time very inviting and cozy. This is how you use the deep green of the trees in summertime. I always say I can't do that. I can't use the deep green of the trees in the summer, but this is how it's done so beautifully. You have your streets, your sidewalks, all these cool neutrals, grays, all that good stuff, but then you have all these pops of color here and there that really make it feel alive and real, despite the fact that overall it's a very intentional color palette. And I think it's just amazing how well it's done, especially when you can decorate as well as this creator does. I mean, look at this. Look at this little green spot. It belongs. It feels like it should be here. And this area in the back, this view, we have a bunch of flowers and shrubbery, and yet they still fit the color scheme without feeling artificial. It feels like lively and like it belongs here, and yet it all looks so good put together. This scene, amazing. I love it so much. The little white we have going on here, the pops of red and green, it all still looks good together. That pink skateboard is such a cute pop of color. I adore it. Everything just looks, again, cohesive. Even this brown soccer field feels like it should be here. It's a part of the vibe. It kind of ties this spot together. This little shop, there's just a bunch of little corners and things, but they're all part of the color palette. Even this little green shop here, I love it so much. And this view, very colorful in the background, and yet it belongs like everything else does. And this rooftop, and Coco freaking me out, but that's okay. Look at the pinks and blues. Just an amazing island overall. I love it so much. Talk about an island that will knock your socks off. This one is sure something. It's so scrumptious. Something about this island makes me crave a pie. I feel like I should be eating a pie. I mean, maybe it's the fall vibes, but it's so beautiful. Mostly green, but you see we have these pops of brown, these more neutral sections here and there, and yet there's a lot of like dropped apples, yellow flowers, amazing views also, if I can just say that real quick. It's so beautiful, and it just feels, again, so cohesive. It's just that right time of year and just that right time of day that even though it's overall very green, it feels like it has this golden, almost caramely glow to it because of the day, the time of day, and the time of year. You wouldn't get the same look in the deep of the summer, you know, or in autumn, like further into autumn. It's so good because it's, I believe, early September or sometime in September, I believe. But all these just little brown sections thrown in, they mix so beautiful with the green and the crops everywhere. It's so cute. The flowers all feel like they belong, like they're part of it. The crops too, a very colorful area, and yet it still feels like part of the palette overall. Same with these shops together. Very cute. We have some purple going on, but it still feels right. Nothing feels out of place. These neutrals thrown in amongst the green, the red flowers on either side. Just a stunning island, a lovely color palette. Now, I had to include this amazing island because where else are you going to get such beautiful pastel rainbow inspiration? I mean, all over. It's just this glorious ongoing set of colors that you don't see on most islands, and it's snowy, which really pulls it all together. We've got some really pretty pastel pink areas like this, and then overall we just have, again, this ongoing pastel color palette, and yet it's very vibrant in a way, but it's in a way that fits. It's not overly saturated, It's subtle and yet so charming. I mean, look at this. This pink area is so cute. We've got little heart-shaped pieces of land, islands, and a heart pond. It's so cute. Look at this. I mean, look at this. If you need inspiration for how to use a lot of colors, but to make them fit and feel like they belong, this is so good. I mean, what more do you need? Also, right here, I felt like I was getting married to Judy. I was walking down the aisle towards her. It was a weirdly romantic moment, but look at her. She fits too in this beautiful place. I mean, all the villagers really felt like they belonged as well, which is another thing you can consider for your island. Do you want your villagers to fit into the color palette? It is possible, friends. It is possible. Look at the neighborhood. Have you ever seen the mermaid fence look good before? Because now you have. I mean, look at it with that path. It's so cool. I just think this creator did such a cool job with this color scheme. Again, very pastel, but so lively, so vibrant. And this view too, just scrumptious. It's so good. I don't know what else to say. You need to come see it for yourself because it's lovely. Now, moving away from daytime into the early morning, this island is so enchanting. I can't even describe it. You're just gonna have to look. I mean, look at it. So beautiful. This is what I'm talking about again with picking the time of day along with the time of year. This time of day fits so beautifully with this theme and with the colors that the creator was going for. I mean, that turquoise sky is everything, and it puts this beautiful veil over all of the colors on the island. Everything is extra glowy, extra beautiful. You have all of these deep blues and purples all sprinkled amongst this deep green forest. It's amazing. I mean, look at it. You've got all of the nice items that light up, including star fragments, the glowing moss, the green mums, and the green on the shrubs also looks so beautiful. And that dark path. Can we talk about that path? And this one. They're so good. And you've got that lump of green moss, which is so cute and so cool on this island. The dark house looks so right. The cave. I can't get enough of this. I mean, this is a color palette. This is such a good color palette. Look at the moons. I mean, come on. It's so beautiful. I can't say enough good about it. I mean, the mushrooms, all of these items that just light up the place. But again, it's because of the sky as well. It just fits with the vibe so perfectly. Look at the tint and the little blocks, the little items that glow. I can't remember the name, but it's just so good. 10 out of 10. Come see this island, y'all. It's amazing. And now going back to daytime, this island offers such a vibrant color palette. It's so beautiful, and right now I feel like we are just out in the ocean. I mean, how cool is this? It's so cool. This island is Key West, and it really feels like that's where we are. I mean, another just totally realistic island. So beautiful. I just love everything about it, including all the alternate fencing. We have the pink and yellow, the orange and blue. It looks so cool, and it just brings all these different colors together. And we have a ferry with a view. I mean, come on. It's so pretty. The white building there was the museum. These little houses. Now, y'all, I gotta say, if you know me... Oh, and look at this pop of pink, by the way. Look at that. So good. But if you know me, you know I tend to put everything in the orange hour. I am such a sucker for the golden hour. But this island is perfect for this time of day. It's not too late or too early. There's a little bit of shadow, so it's got a little bit of that extra charm to it. But it's still daytime, and it really lets us see the colors as they actually are. So we don't have too much of a filter per se, but it's just bright enough that we can actually see everything intact, you know? So we have all these cute yellows and blues and greens, so many different colors, and yet it still feels like a color palette overall. It still feels like we're in this beach area, we're by the water, we're on a pier, you know, we're in cute little neighborhoods. It's just perfect. I can't recommend this island enough. And now, speaking of orange hour, here we go. This is an island after my own heart just because of the time of day. This is what I always tend to go to. And in this case, it really does fit with the island's aesthetic and with the color palette. This is such a well done island. I fell in love. It's so beautiful, very cozy and sort of simple in the layout, but it's so complex at the same time. We have flying saucers. We have this beautiful little orchard, the pops of red, so stunning, but overall a very neutral, you know, here we go. Here's the flying saucers. I'm obsessed. This shot is so perfect. I want to be there right now. I want to be there. It's so glorious. All these trees, the autumn vibes, the oranges, reds, yellows, goldens, and then the greens mixed in. Lots of neutral. The crops look beautiful. The little outfit that's there for you makes you fit in. And look at this. Look at this. I'm crying. The sheep and the dogs. But again, the color palette is everywhere. It's perfect. We have pigs. We have all these little farm buildings, you know, the windmills. We have an actual barn that you can get up on top of, and the reds tie together with the trees. All these different animals. Look at the red and the milk, and oh my goodness, it's so good. This is such a good color palette overall, and yes, resident services is still in the tent. There's only 2 villagers. It's quite the situation. I love it so much. And we have a little green area here with this building. It's so cool. It fits in. Everything about this island belongs. Okay, friends, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you got some inspiration from these amazing islands. Maybe got some new things to think about. Tell me in the comments, what color theme are you planning to do or are you working on? I'd love to hear about it. Show these creators some love, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.